My name's Paul Goki. I'm Pete Goki's grandson, and this is the best hamburgers in the United States, actually, so maybe the world, but I don't know what else to say. Well, the records that we have show 1909 was the first year that Pete started, and he started with small box stands, and he used to take it to carnivals and fairs and ball games and things like that. They used kerosene fuel for the fire. He was frying them, is what he was, like a typical burger. He'd sell 10 or 15, and he had a pan that made 30 or 40. He'd keep pouring water on to keep them from drying out. People would come back an hour later to get another one, and they liked those better. So he started cooking them just with water. It's our secret ingredient. And a lot of onions are in there, and it's just, they're boiled.
Paul Goki,
Hey, Kyle.
how are you, buddy?
Good.
Third
Good to see you.
generation of Pete's Hamburgers. I am resting my palms on hallowed hamburger ground right now.
Well, you should be in here working.
If you'll have me.
Yes,
Yeah,
come on in.
if you've got extra aprons, I'm in.
We're here.
All right,
We
door on
got
the
it.
side?
Yes, right down the door. Hello again.
Good to see you,
Good
buddy.
to see you. Good to see you.
This is more vast than I expected, actually.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
And who's this lovely lady
This
parsing
is my
out?
wife, Colleen.
Hi, Colleen. We do the chef shake. Nice to
Sounds
meet
good.
you.
Nice
And that's
to
an
meet
ice
you.
cream scoop. And
Yes, it is.
how much portion?
As much on the top as on the bottom, and it turns out a quarter of a pound.
Quarter of a pound. All right. Well, if you're willing to have me as a line cook, I'm willing to be suited up,
Okay, well, let's find a shirt for you.
as long as it says Pete's.
Hey, Kyle, I'd like you to meet Bill Hoosier. He's my brother-in-law.
Hi, Bill. Nice to meet
Kyle.
you. I feel like I've just taken about 12 steps, but 75 in history right here.
You're not on
Close
the
to
cooking carpet yet. So
100. So look at that sizzle coming on.
And if you want to add a little bit more water,
I do.
about half the pitcher.
Feels good.
All right. And
All right.
then you're going to add the onions. Those
Oh,
are
yeah.
in the tray right there.
This will be worth the wait, folks. Just
Right in the middle.
Right in the
You
middle.
bet. Dump them right out. That's fine.
Just
There's
go
no
for
style points.
it. The whole thing?
You bet.
All
Yep,
right.
the whole thing.
Good.
And then our chopper, and give them a once over a little bit.
So I've got Paul, Pete's grandson, looking in on the window here while I'm working the griddle at basically what I consider the single most legendary burger stop in America. No pressure here, people.
None at
No
all.
pressure.
None at all. You ready for the burgers?
I hope so.
Okay.
I was born ready.
There should be 50 underneath there, and there are. You want to first put in 15 extra. Anywhere you want to.
Anywhere.
Put in 15 extras.
I'm going to go top corner.
Sure. You want to get 30 to the right, 10 in the middle, and 25 on the side.
Okay, 10 in the middle. So what's the longest line you remember having?
We've had lines on both sides going back at least half a block on each side.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had people say that they've waited for 3 pans to get served finally.
Wow.
On most Saturdays, we go through hundreds of burgers. It usually is a line, there's usually a line on both sides for most of the day. And we just keep cooking and serving all day. That's all we do.
And do you then go home and just see hamburgers when you close your eyes?
I usually eat pizza and drink beer when I go home after working on Saturdays.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to use the spatula too, you can get 6 of them out at a time. It
Nonsense.
goes a little bit quicker for you.
Nonsense.
And now you want to take the spatula
And just smash them
and
down.
press them
So
down.
you don't have a weight. You just old school.
No, just brute force. That's how I got the
Boom.
physique I have now.
Sure. Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Okay. Yeah.
400 or 500 burgers every day, smashing down, flipping over. You get pretty buff, you know.
I'm going for the flip now. This is the burger hot tub. Boy, the smell of those onions working their way into these burgers.
You gotta quit your regular job and start flipping burgers?
No, sir. My regular job doesn't pay well enough, so I actually have been flipping burgers for years.
Now you want to add a little bit more water and flip the onions.
All right.
So
All
don't burn on the
right.
bottom.
The rest of the pitcher?
Yep, put it right over the onions too if you want to. There you go.
Woohoo! This is fun. So the onions are not salted. It's just pure good onion flavor.
Just regular Vidalia onions.
So let's talk about onions for a second, Bill. We did the math before outside when I was talking to Paul. And if I understand, it's about 5 to 6 50-pound bags of onions a week. And then I did the math on your season, and that works out to be just a little over a ton of onions from April to October for this tiny little burger stand.
Somewhere in Idaho, there's an onion farmer who's smiling right now, I'm sure.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you. I mean, that's a lot of onions.
That's a lot of onions.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we got orders up.
What do we got?
2 without, 1 with. I love the shorthand, by the way. It's just 2 with. They know. It's onions. I could see getting into a rhythm, by the way, which I haven't yet. Hi, what's your name?
Mary
Welcome to Pete's, Mary.
from Florida.
Really? Where in Florida?
Winter Haven.
Are you going to eat all 4 of these burgers yourself?
No,
Be honest.
I probably could. I ate 2 yesterday.
Man, this is just a few folks, but I can see when there's a line, it's got to be something and a half. Yeah, I think that's 4. I've been chatting.
Yep, you're good.
All right.
Terrific.
Bill, this made my year,
Good.
but I also know I'm slowing your line down. I'm going to take these things off. I'm going to resume my roll out there, and I'm going to eat a couple of burgers.
Thanks for doing that first pan.
Thank you,
Did
buddy.
a great job.
Absolutely.
Terrific job.
Thanks for letting me at the griddle. Now that I have worked the griddle and I'm watching Bill from this angle, I understand what a smooth, stealthy, well-oiled, athletic grill machine he is.
Yes.
I
yes.
mean,
There's so many people that are frustrated that we don't have cheese.
Thank you.
Being in Wisconsin, we should have cheese.
yeah.
But,
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk to you about that.
but the reason we don't is because that's one more thing. You're asking somebody, you want one with, one without, you want cooked, raw. you
Well,
want
and in this
cheese,
cooking
no cheese.
technique, it wouldn't melt.
No.
It would mess with the water.
You'd end up putting cheese on it after it's cooked.
Yeah.
A slice of
Yeah, and that's no
cheese.
good. Right.
May I help you, kind stranger?
Hello, Bill. How are you? So I'm told by Paul that I'd like to have one that he likes. So it's going to be with grilled onions and raw onions, and a little ketchup and a little horseradish, and then one without.
All right.
Bag or a tray?
Oh, a tray's just fine.
yeah.
We're not going to go but a few feet. We got burgers here, my friend. This is what they call without. It's been poached in that great onion jus.
Yeah.
The onion poach really comes through on the flavor of the meat.
Yes.
That Vidalia sweetness is fantastic. That's the secret right there.
Yep. And they have to be sliced a specific way. If you dice them or do this kind of thing.
Sure, they
don't
release
work.
flavor
They don't-
differently.
Yeah.
So this is the Paul Goki burger. Grilled onions, raw onions, little horseradish, and ketchup. And if the owner loves it this way, it's got to be good, right?
Right.
These 2 in particular with an ice cold beer, I would probably eat about 6 or 7, happily.
I've tried to cut down. I used to have 2 when I'd come here, and now I just eat 1.
And how often did you come here? Every day you were
every
open?
day. You would think you'd get tired of them, but I guess you
No,
just don't.
that's
I haven't yet anyway. So
That's impossible. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
so appreciate it.
you guys coming down.
We did not want Potosi to become a dying community. The American Brewery Association was having their annual convention in Stevens Point of June of 2003, and they had always been interested in having a National Brewery Museum. And when they decided to select Potosi, wow, a little town of 700 people to accomplish this, to get a National Brewery Museum, changed the complexion of things. This facility is bringing in between 65,000 and 70,000 people a year, so it has had a profound positive impact on the economy of the region. Well, there's so much here, it's hard to say it in a sentence or two, but Many of these items are priceless, one-of-a-kind items. Artifacts, labels, bottles, limited edition steins. They're $2.5 to $3 million worth of artifacts. They've changed constantly. Right now we're in what is called the Great Room. Most of, not all, but most of what is in this room are Wisconsin breweries. The other rooms, you can see a variety of breweries. Since we opened in June of 2008, exhibits here have changed over 90 times. So you could come here for many, many reasons, not just because you're interested in breweries, but you might be interested in how a lot of the signage is a reflection of different time periods. A lot of people ask about these ceramic bottles. The wheat beer that they produced was so pressurized, it would often explode the glass bottles, so they put that in the ceramic because the ceramic bottles were stronger than the glass. Here are 2 breweries from Freeport, Illinois. There was a time when it was safer to drink the wine and the beer than it was to drink the water from a city water system. Children used in advertising beer or wine products was not unusual since they were drinking it as well. Hopefully not to the degree that their parents were, but they were drinking the wine and the beer as well. People ask me, how long is a tour? I said, you can spend 10 minutes here or 4 hours and 10 minutes. It depends on your time and your interest. And I'm so happy we're able to salvage this building. You know, so many of these brewery buildings, they're destroyed, they're gone. Once they're gone forever. You can't recreate them. The brewery was what we had. The brewery is what we used to rebuild the community. And we are 501c3, we're a nonprofit brewery. So what I tell people is the more Potosi products they buy, the more they're helping the needy and helping fire departments and rescue squads and schools and libraries. And this has made a lot of other things possible.
Just a quarter mile from the Mississippi River in southwestern Wisconsin is the small town of Potosi, and home to the Potosi Brewing Company, which has brewed great beer for over 160 years. It went fallow for a little while and then came back in 2008. And I'm here to meet with Dave Fritz, who is the president of the Potosi Foundation, and as he would tell you humbly, just a volunteer. Dave Fritz!
Kyle, welcome to Potosi.
Of the good old Potosi Brewery.
You know, it's a great place to come when you're looking for a beer, a little history. We've got over 400 donors that have helped us out, hundreds of volunteers, and I'm just one of the volunteers. And I would say if you have to volunteer for something, you might as well volunteer for a brewery.
I think you got that part right. I've been promised a tour, and with all the history, I cannot wait to have one.
Let's head on back to the cave.
All right. This alone is a treasure.
Notice the temperature change. We're back down to about 52 to 55 degrees.
It's profound, and there's a palpable good funk. You could make Potosi/Roquefort cheese in here. You could do something like that, but this is a living entity. To have this here, and it isn't just sort of a museum exhibit. I mean, this is part of your brewery.
Right, we're still using it, and we're naturally aging and souring some of our beer, and we keep that removed completely from our production brewery, and it's a great place to do it. And it's interesting when you ask our head brewer, when is this beer going to be done? And his answer is, we'll know when it's time. So.
Well, what's crazy is your beer's so good, and then you sell it, and you make money, and then you give it all away.
The Potosi Brewing Company is 100% owned by the Potosi Foundation, and all our profits go to charity. And, we've got a pretty unique story, and we're happy to tell it. So.
Well, truth be told, I'm getting a little chill in here, so
right.
yeah, lead on, my friend.
Let's head out. Kyle, we're going into our new production facility, and I'm really excited to show you what's happening in here. So go on in, be my guest.
Whoa.
A little different?
Yeah, everything's so clean and perfect, and it smells good. I can't get over how good it smells in here. I don't know if it's the barley, I don't know if it's the malt, the hops, the Potosi love. Of all the breweries I've been in, it's so rewarding.
It reminds me of going back into the feed mill when I was growing up as a young kid. I mean, you went in there and the feed and the freshly ground feed.
Right, as well, it's gorgeous, it's elegant, it's just elegant. And then it turns out, you're making jobs for people too, which is pretty cool.
For our board, that's what it's all about. I mean, making quality beer,
right.
but developing tourism jobs. And if you look at the craft industry, and the amount of local jobs they're bringing back to these local communities, that's what's exciting about it. We take a lot of pride in the ability to not only brew our own beer with high quality, but our contract customers. Their beer is as important as our beer. The other thing that was really important to us is to use local contractors and local manufacturers wherever possible. And
Sure.
kind of a good example is our fermentation system and our bright tanks. They were made by Darlington Dairy Supply, or DDS Brewing
Darlington,
System.
Wisconsin.
Darlington, Wisconsin, which is just a few miles from here. So
Yeah.
local ingredients, local contractors, but it's important to have really, really good people on the ground level.
Yeah,
So.
good. Let's go meet some of them.
Kyle, we're going up to where all the action happens, up on the Brewers platform.
All the action?
All the action.
All right.
Going to introduce you to John Gentry.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm
Nice
great,
to
Kyle.
meet you.
Nice to meet you too, sir.
Did you ever imagine you would be the lead brewer at an iconic brewery that goes back more than 100 years?
No, absolutely not.
No pressure.
I know, right? Absolutely, can't screw anything up. But no, I started as a home brewer about 4 years ago, and I remember the day vividly when I poured my first pint of my home brew. I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
So you went from homemade stainless tanks in your garage or basement.
Right. So yeah, started 5-gallon batches, and now we're doing 120 barrels, which is a little bit shy of 4,000 gallons in a day. So
John gave up a career at IBM to come and live his dream.
I did.
IBM, yeah, I heard of them.
Yeah, they're just a small company.
Right, yeah, but didn't brew any beer, so
That's
it's
correct.
inconsequential as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
So what's your favorite beer to drink?
I'm a huge hophead, so I absolutely love Ircink Hollow. So that's my favorite beer to drink.
Do you think that tempers your palate towards maybe a little bit more hoppiness in some of your other beers?
Not really, no, because I also do enjoy malt forward beers, but for sure I prefer, an IPA over anything else, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you get back to work. 'Cause
I will, absolutely.
It's important work, my friend.
Lots more to do today.
Kyle, we're going into a very, very special spot in the Potosi Brewing Company, and I think you'll get it quick when we walk in.
Hey, I know what's going on in here. So this is new territory, because I don't think Potosi probably ever did this in its original 120 plus year iteration.
They would have had a beer in wooden barrels, but
Right.
that would have been back when they didn't have the stainless steel and aluminum kegs that they have now. So
Dave, give me an example of what you're doing here. What's your barrel aging? Like what kind of beer are you going to end up with?
that's a good question. This is our inner sanctum, which is a brandy barrel-aged Belgian quad.
Brandy barrel-aged Belgian quad.
That'll probably come out at about 12% alcohol when it's ready to go. It's a sipping beer. It's not
Sure.
one you want to sit down and guzzle down a 22-ounce bottle.
Either bring friends or set the day aside.
Right, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank
I like
you.
it. All right, there's a theme here. Cold in your cave, cold in your barrel aging refrigeration room. Let's head back out to the brewery.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, well, Captain, my captain, where do we start here?
Well, I would go to the good old Potosi.
Okay.
And so if we're going to go from the kind of the most mild beer to the little bit more aggressive beer, so this is a
And this is a step back in time,
a
right?
golden ale, yes.
Yeah,
back
I like
in
that.
time.
Oh, that's great.
Great refreshing beer.
Wow. This beer could conquer the world.
It could.
It's not a hoppy thing. It's almost a lemon tang, but it's just right there, but it makes you want to have another sip and another sip and another sip, and it has almost no weight to it.
Yes.
Whoa, this is a great, wow, hey.
Cheers.
Twice. Yeah.
Oh.
Snake Hollow. You got me on this one. I'm a little apprehensive anything called snake.
Potosi used to be called Snake Hollow. It also used to be called the Valley of the Drunken Men. So we figured the Valley of the Drunken Men wouldn't fit on a beer label, so we decided to call it our Snake Hollow IPA.
So this is where you're going to have to do your best to seduce me, because I feel like I was over IPA'd about 3 years ago.
Yep.
So if this is a winner for me, that was really saying something. In this spirit, there's a silkiness to it,
Yes.
and there's a restraint to
Yep.
that hoppiness.
Yep.
I would say you're hitting that on the nose. Cheers.